Whew. Howdy doody. Just going to do a my ranking of the Doors albums. Um, I no longer have any of them on vinyl, um, but it's one of those bands that was so important at the time, especially here in Australia, or to me in Australia. It's one of those bands where you drive out in the big, wide, huge country side of Australia, and the Doors just fitted perfectly into um, into that landscape. Um, Hard to explain. Um, there's a connection with the east coast of Australia and the west coast of the USA. You know, the surfing culture. Um, many interlocking or lacing type things going on there. Um, and probably the greatest Doors band of the probably the greatest version of the Doors is the Australian Doors show from the 1980s. They were anyway. Getting off subject. This is talking of subject. This is subjective, not objective. This is just personal um, preference. It is a ranking. Unfortunately, these are CDs and they're very hard to read. So you'll have to be patient at times. Starting at, I think if I've missed one, well, I've missed one. I don't think I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 albums. I'm not including any of the stuff done after Jim Morrison died. If I'm missing one, I'm sorry. So, okay, 1, 2, 3, 6. Okay, number 6, I will put Soft Parade. Only in that, look, all 6 of these albums are great, you know, really are, and you know they've all got a bit of filler, um, but this one has got Touch Me, which I had on a 45, but Wild Child, which I love, Running Blue, which was it's a bit of a jokey song, but it's great. Look, Wishful Sinful, it there's good tracks on this, but it's just something not quite there. All right, that was number 6. Number 5, in my own taste, is Waiting for the Sun. Same thing, excellent tracks. Hello, I Love You, Love Street, which I love. Uh, The Unknown Soldier, which is up there in their top 5 songs, in my opinion. But that one, and 521, which is in their top 5 songs, in my opinion. Um, this is, I probably could have put this lower than the previous one because there's a lot of filler on this, in my opinion. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, there's about 5 tracks on here that I really don't care for. There's nothing wrong with them. They just don't have any punch. But yeah, for the fact of it's got Unknown Soldier and 521 puts it slightly above the previous album. Working our way up the ladder. This is number 4. The second album, Strange Days. Okay, pretty hard to follow up their first album, I must admit, but still a great album. I love the cover. Really love that cover. Strange Days, You Lost Little Girl, Love Me Two Times, Horse Latitudes. My God, that's horrifyingly scary song. People Are Strange, which I know what that's all about. Um, and When the Music's Over. Um, yeah, it's sort of a bit like Waiting for the Sun. It's got um, actually, it's got less iconic songs on it than Waiting for the Sun. When the Music Over is iconic. Uh, yeah, really, I suppose. This is this ranking business. I'm almost thinking Waiting for the Sun's better than Strange Days now. It doesn't really matter. All the Doors albums are great. Yes, they all have 3 or 4 filler tracks, or most of them do, but I'll just leave it at that. What's it matter? Okay, number 3. I played this the other day. I haven't played it in ages. Oh man, this is I could easily put this at number 1. Easily. It really, really is a good album. I really like it. I think this is the one, just from memory, where they actually got a bass player in to play on the tracks. Um, Pretty sure this is the one, and it's noticeable because it really is. The bass on this is great. It's proper bass. Okay, what have we got on this? Hard Rock Cafe, Roadhouse Blues, Waiting for the Sun, You Make Me Real, Peace Frog, which I've always loved. It's in my top 5 Doors songs. Ship of Fools, Land Ho, Maggie McGill. Look, there's no really outstanding classic Doors songs on here, in truth. Um, Peace Frog I would consider a classic Doors song, but the others not so much. It could be almost anyone making a sort of an album of this time. But I just love it. Side 1 in particular, it just flows one after the other. Some really good guitar work on here. I've always had an issue with um, what's his name's guitar in this band, and when he gets down and dirty, he's great. But he's got this thing that's always sort of annoyed me, and it still does. He does these, you know, uh, I can't explain it. The weak member of the Doors is Robbie Krieger. When he gets savage or use effects driven guitar, he's great. But if he's just left to, he tries to do this horrible noodly jazz, 1950s jazz guitar things, playing along with the vocal and the melody with single notes on the guitar. That's always bugged me. I just block it out. Like, I have tinnitus. I've had it for years, decades, from working. I got it from listening to rock concerts and working in aluminium and wire factories and stuff. But I just block it out by not thinking about it. If I talk about it or someone mentions the word tinnitus, I can hear it. But if I just block it, and it's a bit like that when I listen to Robbie Krieger's um, guitar sometimes on the Doors, and it doesn't change. The thing with the Doors is, though, we're so used to bands being around for 10 years, 20, 30, 40, 50 these days, or even more, 60 days. We're so used to it, them being around that long, and they've had a chance to change. Of course, they never get better; it gets worse. But like people like Dylan and the Stones, who cares what shit they put out since 1972? Because it's basically shit. But they're still there, and they. But with the Doors, people, you think, oh, they must have been around for 10, 20 years. They weren't. They're only 67 to 1970, 3 years, 6 albums in 3 or 4 years. That's all good stuff. It's of its time, but it is really of its time. Far more important than the Beatles. This is pretty. This is almost as good as what the Stones were doing. Anyway, time is passing, getting along. This is always a hard one, but I'm going to go the debut album at number 2. This album, I mean, number 1. I wish I still had the vinyl just for the cover. It's an iconic cover. This just blew everyone away when this came out. There's no really fantastic, outstanding songs on it. Really, Break On Through to the Other Side, yes. The Crystal Ship's good. Light My Fire, unfortunately, it's just been done to death. The End. Yeah, I mean, really, this is a sort of their. My final 2 picks are what are their most bluesy records. They are not necessarily my favourites, but I'm just doing this as I have to rank this at number 2. Not much more else to say on that. And number 1, hands down, I think this is their best. Their last album with Jim. It's almost like going back to the debut. I mean, it's they started out with that sort of sound, that heavy bluesy carnival organ type sound, and it was very impressive. And they went out with it. I mean, honestly, the tracks on this, the Changeling, Lover Madly. I mean, I love the Robbie Krieger's pop tunes because they really save these albums. Songs like Lover Madly and Touch Me and Hello, I Love You. That okay, that they are great pop songs, and if they weren't on the albums, some of these Doors albums would just be almost forgotten because you really need a couple of standout sing along, tap your foot type tunes to keep you interested, and they're very clever. They usually put 1 or 2 on each album. So Been Down So Long, Cars Hissed By My Window, LA Woman, what can you say? Crawling King Snake, The Wasp, yes, that's way up there. And the best song ever. It's like Kashmir, is the best thing Led Zeppelin did is Kashmir, in my opinion. But it comes off probably their worst album, Physical Graffiti. Because if you listen to the rest of Physical Graffiti, it's not a patch on the first 2 albums, the first 2 Led Zeppelin albums. It just sounds tired. But Kashmir was in such a break, such a change. And with this one, I don't know. I forget. I didn't have my breakfast. I forget what I was talking about. Bloody awful. Riders on the Storm. It's the best Doors song. It is, man, that is scary ass. The perfect driving song, I've always said. Is you'd be driving out on a lonely stretch of Australian highway, and you'd see these creepy looking vagrant hitchhikers. I used to pick them up, but every time one got in the car, you'd think, is this the one that's going to kill me? Well, or was I going to kill them? Because I was armed in case of emergencies. I've picked up hitchhikers and had to put up with them for 2 days on long stretches, driving from Sydney to North Queensland. And you meet a few that are interesting or reasonably good people, but by God, back in the 70s, it was a mixed bag, Daddy-o. Yeah, so Riders on the Storm. There's There's something on the road. There's a killer on the road. Anyway, I'm rambling on. Anyway, that's just my ranking. Okay, bye.